Hi everyone, welcome to Digital Sniper. Today I just want to talk about a recent experience buying raw cards online. Now, I'd like to make this video on behalf of the buyer, which is also the collector, and the seller. Now, first of all, I recently bought a small lot, and these were all like incomplete team lots from someone on eBay. And at first, I was looking for this Edgar Martinez, which um, they were selling as a single. And I've been looking for this card for quite some time. And I passed up on a PSA 9 about maybe 2 years ago. And ever since then, I haven't seen a 9 pop up. And believe it or not, the Edgar Martinez doesn't is quite difficult to find in high grade. You'll find a lot of like PSA 5, 6, and 7s, even 8s. I think there's some 8s right now, but 9s and 10s don't rarely pop up. I think there's only like about 8 PSA 10s. So when I saw this single, and it looked pretty good, eye appeal wise, I know that they had a roller mark on it, which I was fine with. This is just good. I'm not going to grade this. This will be part of my um, ungraded collection, and I just wanted something that looked pretty well centered, sharp corners, and just decent looking to the naked eye. And yeah, so usually when I buy a single like this, I will look at what the other seller has to offer, especially with the shield cards, and I would take advantage of the combined shipping. So he had several incomplete team sets, and I thought this is great because I'm still missing a lot of cards from my set, and they weren't expensive, and the cards look really good in photos. So I bought total of 54 cards, including the Edgar Martinez, and it was shipped fairly quickly, and the packages arrived very quickly. Now, just to show you, the package was this big box here, and it had a sufficient bubble wrap and the works. So it was very well packaged. But as I was taking out the cards, I noticed two things. The first thing was that every card was in a top loader or a card saver. So that's great, right? But then I noticed that none of the cards, except for the Edgar Martinez, was in the sleeve. So immediately, my first reaction was ouch, because if anyone has put a card without a sleeve into the top loader, you know that there's a lot of abrasion when you slide the card in because the top loader narrows in the middle, as you can see here. And so, especially the middle part will be touching the card as you slide in. And if you're lucky, it won't scratch it. But I did notice with a few cards that there were a few surface scratches. And also, I've noticed that with a few cards like this, there were a few rarely, fairly fresh corner damage, like dings on them. And when I looked back at the original photos the seller posted, these corner dings did not exist. So, although I can't be certain, because sometimes it can also be the seller's photo, but I was pretty sure a few cards were damaged during shipping because, for example, the stump mural here, when I received it, the card was halfway out, and that's how much a card can move without a sleeve. So the first thing I wanted to say from to sellers is please sleeve your card. Don't save on the penny sleeve, even if you use like a used penny sleeve, because this penny sleeve avoids um, risking the card from moving too much. And although they can still pop out if there's like very extreme movement, but it's less likely compared to having no sleeve at all. And then second thing is the penny sleeve will protect the card from surface scratches when you're sliding in and out or just general movement inside top loader. Now with the card savers, it's a little better because cards don't usually move that much or at all in a card saver. So there were about like 14 cards out of the 54 cards that were in a card saver, I think. And so at least these cards should be fairly okay. So, anyways, I reached out to the seller, and the seller was very quick to respond, and pat on the back for that. We worked out something. He just asked for some photos just to see how the cards were damaged or how the cards were packed. And fair enough, I tried to send them that as soon as possible, and we reached an agreement and we worked everything out. I didn't have to refund the cards, and I don't think he wanted me to refund the cards neither, right? Because the work was done, and I think we both deserve something for it. So the first thing I want to say on a buyer or a collector side is when an issue arises, first thing you shouldn't do is immediately jump on eBay and give the seller bad feedback. Okay, I think we've all kind of done that when something comes up and you're super pissed. I think I've done that in my early years on eBay, but I've also realized that 99% of the time, the seller wants to make things work and they want to make sure your shopping experience is a happy one, especially if you see a seller and they have like 100% feedback. They obviously don't want um, an unintentional bad experience to affect their reputation. So talk to them first. And of course, there's always a chance where the seller is unable to accommodate your requests for either a refund or a partial refund or exchange or whatever. In that case, then there's still another option, and that is to reach out to eBay and ask them to resolve the matter. In my experience, there has been situations where the seller did not want to deal with me, and I was able to get a full refund, and I was able to keep a certain card in that case, and and it all worked out. Now, did I end up giving bad feedback to the seller? No, because to be fair, overall the whole experience was fine. I mean, there was some inconveniences, like minor inconveniences, but at the end, eBay made everything work out, and I was able to, with the refund, I bought another card, and the seller was happy. I was happy, so there was no need to give negative feedback to the seller. And to be fair, I think the whole being able to get the refund when something like that happens is all part of the whole shopping experience with that particular seller as well. So as long as that purchase was protected by eBay, um, regardless of the fact whether the seller wanted to uh, give me a refund personally or that I had to go through eBay, I think overall, as a buyer, I was satisfied with the whole process. And there was no need to complain or leave some nasty comment on eBay about the seller. So yeah, that's really it. I just wanted to talk about. I mean, I bought several raw cards before, and this was the first time the cards came in slightly below my expectations. But overall, I still enjoyed buying from the seller. We had a quick chat. I think he was a nice guy. It was an honest mistake. It sounded like he probably asked someone else to ship the cards for him, or maybe it was an employee, and maybe they were new and or didn't know that these cards should be in the sleeve. And sometimes if the seller can't afford to ship in top loaders and card savers due to cost issues, as a collector, I would prefer cards all in a penny sleeve and in a team bag. As long as it's cardboard sandwich and bubble wrapped, it should be safe. And the reason being, like, as long as it's in a sleeve, it's less likely to have any surface scratches. And also, the sleeve also prevents a lot of like corner damage too, because of the fact that it's quite soft, and there's a lot of space between, you know, whatever you contain these cards in, like a team bag or whatever, and it has a certain amount of protection before the edge gets in contact with something hard or a bag or whatever. So yeah, like if you can't afford to put these cards in top loaders or card savers, just have them in sleeves and have it in a team bag. Just make sure it's cardboard sandwiched and bubble wrapped. So I just want to share this with you because I think a lot of people, when they're collecting their Shield cards, will go through buying lots or singles. Now, the other thing is to, you know, when you're buying from a new seller, just remember it may be wise just to buy a few cards just to see how the seller ships his cards, and you know, just make sure the cards arrive the way that you've expected. And once you're happy, then go ahead and buy more. There are a few sellers online where I started to buy like one or two singles, and now I buy it on a very regular basis because, you know, once you have that confidence in their methods, you don't worry about these things anymore. So that's it for today. I just want to share a very recent. It was unfortunate, but it turned out to be a satisfying experience. And yes, I will buy from the seller again because I think he's an honest guy, and it was an honest mistake. And you know, we worked things out. So I'll talk to you guys again. See you later.